Hello everybody, welcome to my review of Marvel Studios' Eternals movie. I just saw it yesterday. I think it came out this weekend. I don't know, its run time is probably 2 hours and 37 minutes. Let me pull it up right now. But for one of these, what I'll do is I'll actually just give you, I'll start, because I'm just kind of new to the reviewing, how I'm going to set up these videos. But I'll stick to giving the grading at the end, but if anyone's watching, these contain spoilers, so if you want to go watch any of the movies, all of my TV show and movie reviews are just plot breakdowns, so if you're wanting to watch the movie, just go watch it and don't watch this video. It had pretty, Rotten Tomatoes 46%, IMDb 6.9 out of 10, nice, Metacritic 52%, and 79% of Google people like this one. So, the movie starts off, the plot's pretty straightforward. You have this all-important species called the Celestials, and there's this big, humongous Artemis, or Ashram, Ashram, and he's a Celestial, and there's a big, like, planet-sized, solar system-sized type of being. And the Celestials, are just kind of like, I'm trying to go through the plot as you watch the movie, and again, my TV shows that take notes, my movies I just go off the top of my head. But you just get like a scrolling screen at the very beginning of the movie. The Celestials, they're like the most important species or whatever. Then you have the Eternals that come from the planet Olympia, and the Eternals are sent to Earth to fight the Deviants and protect human beings from the Deviants. That's really where the movie starts. You get introduced to the first character, Sersi, who is played by Gemma Chan, Boing, very pretty lady, excuse me. But she's kind of, again, these Eternals, they live forever, they don't age. They've been on Earth for, I think in the movie, 10,000 years. They've been kind of doing stuff for millions of years. That's just kind of where the movie starts. Sersi and her boyfriend, her human boyfriend, regular boyfriend, I think he's listed on here as Black Knight. I don't think they ever used that in the term, or in the movie. I didn't catch that, but Kit Harington. I believe that's the only one I don't recognize. Maybe I don't know what Harry Styles did in the movie. But whoever the human boyfriend, Sersi's an Eternal, she is a human boyfriend, and she's teaching in class, and earthquakes start hitting London. And so you meet, right at the beginning, you meet Sersi's, they all have different superpowers. Sersi's can like change inanimate objects into other inanimate objects. So she can touch wood and turn it into flowers, or turn it into steel, or she can change the materials of substances. You get introduced to another one called Sprite, who is played by Leah McHugh, and what does she do? She's like her power is like making things invisible. She can definitely make things invisible. She can also make like false copies, like in the game Halo. If you have like a fake Master Chief guy, she can make like decoys, like invisible decoy type of things. But kind of just like a invisible type of superpower. So they're worried about the earthquakes, and in the same kind of opening scene you also meet Icarus, who is played by Richard Madden. And he can fly, and he has like really powerful eyeballs. They all shoot like this energy eyeball thing. Or not all of them, but they all have like energy weapons or this certain type of energy stuff. But he's kind of like the most powerful Eternal. And the Eternals are way less powerful than the Celestials. But the movie's about the Eternals, hence the Eternals. But those three kind of, they don't really meet up. There's an earthquake, and then the Deviants are also from Olympia, and again, remember at this point the Eternals are protecting humans from the Deviants. They think they've killed all the Deviants out. They have a Deviant encounter in London, and they clearly realize that they haven't killed all the Eternals because they've been on the planet for 7,000 years, and so now they have to start meeting up with now they're going to go try to find the other Eternals and get back and see what's going on. So Ikaris, again, at this point, Cersei has her human boyfriend, but you also kind of get like some flashback scenes. Cersei's and Ikaris dated for 5,000 years. They bang one out on the beach. They don't, it's PG-13, they don't show it, but they clearly do that. But the first kind of guy they made, I think, and again, I can be off the plot a little bit, just like the chronology of it. But I think the first one they go to is Kingo, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Kumail Nanjiani. I like him in most movies I've seen him in. I thought he was fun the entire time. Along with his human, he's like a Bollywood, because like they're Eternals, they do whatever, so he's like doing Bollywood dancing, making a movie, which is super, I think it was funny. And his like characters, whoever, like the production guy from the set when the Eternals go to meet up with him, comes along with him throughout the movie. So they meet Kumail, they get him, and now who do they go to next? Well, actually, first I think they go to try to find Ajax, which is played by Salma Hayek. Which Ikaris is the most powerful one, Ajax the leader, and then they find Ajax dead. Sprite, Cersei, and maybe I think it's just Sprite and Cersei's at this point. Maybe one other one, maybe Kingo. But they find Ajax dead, and so again, that's also the time frame when they're trying to round everybody up. They find Gilgamesh. I'm not sure when he exactly gets introduced, but his kind of superpower is just like a super, like Donkey Kong super punch. He's got the glowy fists and can punch really, really hard. So they get him. Just go through the other ones. Athena, and again, there's like flashback scenes you see. Just like again, when Athena, she's the goddess of war, played by Angelina Jolie. She's also a very kind of powerful one. She gets throughout the movie. She gets something called like wary mind. Basically, again at this time in the plot, they think it's just like malfunctioning of just her memories because they lived for so long, and that changes a little bit later in the plot. Ikaris, Cersei's Ajax, Gilgamesh, Druig, played by Barry Cogan. Scottish chap, lad, or Irish lad or something. He can like read minds, like not even read minds, but like change minds. Like he can stand in a group of people and make them all do the same thing. Kumail's power, he can just like generate. He's got the finger pistols. He can just generate the energy like finger guns and ball stuff. Sprite, we already talked about her. Akari. I'm pretty sure they go get the Barry Conan first or Hogue first, but they all get rounded up. Makari, she doesn't really like speak. She speaks sign language, but she's really fast, like the Flash would be. Pretty funny scene when she goes in there and she's reading a bunch of books real fast. You got an Eternal reading a bunch of books. I don't need to read books anymore. But you got Brian Tyree Henry, who plays Phastos, and he's like the engineer, the architect. He like builds things. And in one of the flashback scenes, he's very upset. Well, at first they helped build a plow. They were going to build like a steam engine, and this is like agriculture. Again, the first scene of the Eternals is like Mesopotamia 5000. You know, they kill off one of the deviants. Then they do a flashback at like Babylon. Then they do a flashback at like Hiroshima, and Brian Tyree Henry Phastos is very upset because they don't say why, but again, he's just like progressing the technology. The Eternals again are helping human beings progress technology, and so there's just some scene where he's upset about 9/11. He goes off. He's got a husband and a son. He's got a regular human husband and a son, and the Cersei has a regular human boyfriend after dating the Ikaris for 5,000 years. So they all meet up, they're all going, trying to decide what to do because Ajax dead and clearly the deviants are back. Athena's having this wary mind type of thing, and Salma Hayek, Ajax had like a little like glowy orb ball thing that helps her connect with the Ashrim, the celestial from their home planet, or like their leading celestial. And once Ajax dead, Cersei becomes the leader, and basically then you get, I think this is the point where Cersei learns that the actual plot is not the deviants or she contacts Ashrim, and she learns that the point of going to Earth was not to protect Earth or the human beings from the deviants, but rather to, like, the deviants were Ashrim, the celestial, programmed the Eternals. The Eternals like learn they're not like real, and there's like again I'll talk about the philosophy, but just like so again some human being writing about what makes life, just some weird question in there, some weird philosophy question. Didn't detract from the plot at all for me, but just like, does it matter if we're real or memories are stored on the well, they're like the deviants and the Eternals like balance life for enough life to develop, because there's a giant celestial being seeded in the planet, and it's another that's going to birth. It's called the emergence, and so they kind of learn that the point is just to stabilize life for long enough so a celestial can be born. So they have some sort of philosophical debate of who's right, who's wrong. Kill all the humans to make this one species live. Kill one person, save 10 people type of deal. Again, philosophy never strikes me as that interesting, but as movie did not detract from the plot at all, in terms of watchability, not at all. So they learned that, and what else did they learn about also Ashrim, like there was a flaw in the design of the deviants, that's why they got away. But then there's also this deviant that's the now, even from the beginning London scene, it can like regenerate itself, it can heal itself. And that's kind of what Ajax's power was, she could heal herself. And so this, at least one of the major deviant is now like absorbing some of their powers when he kills them. And they assume Ajax is killed by a deviant this whole time. But that's kind of what they learn. And so now they're deciding this moral dilemma of, should we try to save the human beings by freezing or killing or just sleeping off or putting to sleep using droids' capacity to put the celestial to sleep. And that's when stuff starts to change. Well, they're at wherever Druig is at. He's in some Spanish-speaking place, and they get ambushed by some deviants. And again, because Thena, the goddess of war, Angelina Jolie, is having this wary mind thing. Gilgamesh, played by what's his name, Don Lee. He's like protecting her because he can like calm her down. Like what happens is like she goes wary mind. She starts killing the other Eternals, attacking them because she's just like losing her mind. Like, I don't know, dementia for Eternals. And so Gilgamesh is always taking care of Thena, and then when they go to meet the Druid guy, there's an ambush from the deviants. Druid gets killed. He is now off the map. Bye bye Druid. Sorry Don Lee. We've already talked about Olympia. But then, so now they're back like on their spaceship thing, and again they're debating what to do. And most of the Eternals come to, certainly Druig, or not, Gilgamesh dies, not Druig. But Druig, Kingo, Cersei's, Ajax dead. Thena has wary mind, Makari, pretty much everyone but fucking Icarus and Sprite basically agree that they should stop the emergence of the Celestial, who's called Tiamat. He's in a volcano. And so they're on their spaceship, and that's when Icarus kind of, he either insinuates or just directly, like, Druid kind of guesses, but you get a flashback scene. And at the time, I think the viewer had already seen the flashback scene. Everyone assumed Ajax was killed by a deviant pretty early on in the film. But flashback scene, Ajax was also kind of, I think, going against the Celestials and against the birthing of Tiamat, and Icarus is clearly with the Celestials saying this must happen, the emergence must occur, and throws Ajax to the Druids, or not to the Druids, to the Deviants. And so I think that was a scene earlier in the movie, but now they're on their spaceships debating that, and Druid clearly says, Icarus killed her. He clearly admits it, and basically just says, I'm the powerful eternal, even with all of you guys against me, you're still not going to be able to stop me. And the emergence of the Tiamat is going to happen. So then they start fighting, and get another fight scene. The Tiamat guy, or not the Tiamat, the Phastos, the guy who, like, the architect, the engineering architect, he's kind of the one that, like, restrains Icarus for a little bit. You have Cersei, again, shape-shifting, and also when Gilgamesh died, when they were visiting Druid, she's always been able to, modify inanimate objects, but she somehow turned the Deviant into a metal tree type of thing. So she's getting either more powerful or more aware because of the being the leader, or having access to Ashram, or just developing or something. Phastos builds this thing called the Unimind, which is just a connection device for all of their powers to try to take on Icarus and stop the emergence. Cersei runs up, again, this is on a volcano. Icarus can fly. The Makari can run real fast. So Cersei is running up to try to freeze the birthing of the Celestial. Icarus and Phastos are fighting. Thena, her wary mind's not really getting in the way here. She's fighting the Deviant that's kind of bigger, or absorb the power, which is kind of confusing here at the plot line. Why would the Deviant be fighting against the Eternals, when clearly in the movie the Deviant also says, Ashram has lied to them as well, in terms of programming them and not being real and not preserving their memories. Because after the emergence of the Celestial, their memories get stored with Ashram, the big Celestial from their Olympia planet. They also learn Olympia's not a planet, but that didn't really do anything for me for the plot. But it doesn't make sense to me why the Deviants would not also be fighting against the birth of the Celestial if they were mad at Ashram. So that didn't really make sense to me. But in the movie, Thena is fighting the big Deviant, ends up killing the big Deviant. Cersei starts to freeze the thing. Sprite, who's also a little love triangle, Cersei and Icarus dated for 5,000 years. Sprite is literally a girl, like a child, and she learns that, why would I be programmed to not be able to have love, to not be a full-grown adult, because they don't age. And so she imitates Ajax for a little bit, stabs Cersei in the back. Again, Sprite can do just fake phantom peoples. Stabs Cersei in the back. Doesn't kill her, doesn't do anything that bad. I forget exactly how she gets out of that, if somebody else helps her. But they successfully succeed in freezing the birthing of the Celestial, of Tiamat. And then Cersei, when she freezes the Celestial being, she gets more powerful, or just more aware. Icarus, in his shame, flies into the sun, kills himself. Kingo, the Kamal, might have fucked up your name, sorry. He lives. Cersei lives. Thena lives. Makari lives. Druid lives. There's a scene where Icarus buries him into the ground with his light, but I don't think it kills him. And so they freeze the giant Celestial. Ashram comes back, beams them all up, and is you stop the birthing of a Celestial, see if Earth is worthy, which again, it doesn't detract from the plot or my grading, but it's if you're a super advanced, hyper mega species colonizing the entire universe, I don't think you'd pause to see if the human beings were worthy. So again, just the writing of main character syndrome of humanity. But so that's kind of the end, or the Astrum flies off through like a black hole space warp thing. Phastos lives, goes back with his husband and his son. They're all kind of eating there, just talking, hanging out. And then the last type of thing is Cersei gives Sprite like the ability to be human, so she can grow up, and now Sprite's going to live a normal human life and die. And then the last scene is, again, Cersei walking with Kit Harington. I assume that's wherever the Black Knight comes from, and they're just talking. And Kit Harington goes something to the effect of, my family history is also kind of convoluted or complex or involved. And then I think Cersei gets like just zoomed up, for maybe another sequel or another movie. So now, just some thoughts, themes, and ideas of writing takeaways and my overall grade. One more thing in the movie, it's also Cersei is always wondering why Icarus left her, because they dated for 5,000 years, and it's because he knew, Ajax knew all of the secrets of Astrum and of the Celestials for a while, and she didn't want to let her know it was all for waste, so that's kind of why he left her. But the themes and overall ideas, again, super aliens colonizing all of space, no. That doesn't detract from, entertainment. Again, the philosophical points about, clearly if we don't remember anything, is it worth it? I don't remember 5 days ago, and it was kind of worth it then. So it's in real life memory, no one remembers that fucking much, and certainly no one cares. Their powers, again, any idea, thoughts on that? Generating energy, infinite energy, so they don't degrade, certainly no. Brain reading, no. What else can they do? Fly, again, certainly spaceships. Spaceship look decent. But the Unimind connecting. If you have a sensitive receiver, you'd certainly be able to your brain signals would still make sounds. Or if I stomp on my feet on the floor of my apartment, my immediate neighbors can't hear me. Some of the other ones can. If you just have the correct density, the correct material, you can probably just have a really, really precise discerning of signals. So if you're talking about actual aliens, just brain reading, no. Communicating without speaking, still no. Communication without vocalization, you would just have to have a special receiver to discern the brain signals. So that's certainly possible and likely. But what other ones in that? Any other major themes? I already talked about the philosophical points. Like I said, I thought the writing was good. 2 hours, 40 minutes. Thoroughly enjoyed the whole thing. Did not feel like I wanted to leave or was boring at all to me. Not super new for the action adventure fantasy super aliens Marvel Studio type of movie. Nothing super new. So I will give it a B+. Again, meaning anything above a D, anything above an F is recommended. C is average, does literally nothing for me. B is entertaining, I like it. A is novel idea or super great execution or just really wow factor to me. D is off-putting. So I think overall I give it a B+. I thought, and again, I don't listen to any of the fucking I don't read any reviews. I look at just whenever I'm Googling videos. Don't really understand why this one has low ratings. I liked it. So there you have it. That is my review for the Eternals movie. Thanks for watching.